Wolfman, directed by Lee Winnell, is a new Blumhouse horror film that just hit theaters a couple of days ago. It's the first major release I'm covering of 2025, and it also marks the second time that Lee Winnell has come back to these like classic Universal monsters and giving them a more modern spin, kind of reintroducing them to younger audiences. He did that back in 2020 with the very underappreciated Invisible Man. I really do love that movie. Even if I'm not the biggest fan of Lee Winnell and his usual writing style, I like Insidious, I like The Conjuring, but I think that has more to do with James Wan, really, than Lee Winnell. I think his other movies really miss the mark. But anyway, I was moderately excited for this just because I think Invisible Man was so good, and then the idea of him going back to another, classic monster was intriguing. I really love Julia Garner and Christopher Abbott. I think they're two really talented actors and who could, really anchor this movie well. And despite it being a January Blumhouse release, which is kind of the biggest red flag you could have walking into a horror movie, I didn't mind the trailers, and I think that this movie had the potential to rise above that usual crap that Blumhouse just kind of dumps into theaters during the January release cycle. And I was half right. This movie is definitely not shit. I actually enjoyed my time with most of Wolfman. It's not the most remarkable of things in the world. I think that it does suffer from certain aspects that I'll get into later, but overall, I think this is a pretty enjoyable experience. It's not, gonna blow your mind. It's not anything groundbreaking, but it was serviceable for what it was trying to be. And I give a lot of credit to both Christopher Abbott and Julia Garner. I think that they both give really fantastic performances here for this kind of movie, obviously. You can really feel the marital tension between the two, kind of peeking through both of their characters. And while we don't really get a lot of great dialogue between them, their relationship through their body language and once once a certain thing happens in the movie that is kind of a spoiler, it really isn't. You get to really know more about their characters and how they handle this type of situation, and I think that both Christopher Abbott and Julia Garner do a great job of rising the quality of the movie despite the script being pretty mediocre, and giving the audience more stake in what's happening here. I think that was, both on them a lot. And I do also have to give credit to Lee Winnell for crafting a really good atmosphere. That is something that he's always been good at, no matter if he's just a writing partner with James Wan, if he's helming his own movies. I feel like he's always good at creating a really thick environment for his horror films and letting the actual filmmaking, the cinematography, the lighting, the editing, the score and stuff like that, letting that build the tension more so than just like cheap jump scares and stuff like that. It's something he really excelled at in The Invisible Man and creating such a sense of dread and suffocation. And here it's more of the environment itself, like the setting of the movie is what is so terrifying, not necessarily the werewolves themselves. So, I really did think he excelled in that situation. There's a lot of really cool camera movements here and interesting ideas with the production of the movie. I think there's a certain shot in the trailer where everything is starting to darken in the room around Christopher Abbott's character as he's starting to turn. That was really cool. I think the effect of seeing what he hears, as his reality starts to distort around him was really awesome. So there's a lot of really cool moments like that I have to give credit to the editing for. There was an extra effort put into that side of the movie where I think normally that stuff just gets completely ignored with these B-level horror films. Where I think The Wolfman kind of fizzles out and doesn't really become anything special is the script and the final act. I think that this movie really has a problem with dragging. uh, certain scenes just kind of go on, and they don't really know when to kind of cap off, if that makes sense. They really don't know how to end. And you get all this great tension building in the middle of the movie, and it just kind of all halts, and they try to shove in bookends and certain plot elements that really nobody cares about. So you're left with kind of a half-hearted attempt at a really, heart-pounding thriller that you get some of it, but you almost get like teased with that because they try to shoehorn in this exceptionally stupid plot twist at the end, and I don't know, make it more so about familiar drama and like the really heavy-handed messaging that is just beaten into your head from like the first 10 minutes. I thought that was so on the nose and so just ugh. So yeah, this script really has a lot of holes in it, and I don't mean like logistical holes or anything like that, but just like not great structure or storytelling, if I'm being perfectly honest. And it kind of like kneecaps the rest of the movie, which isn't bad. This movie is not bad at all. I did really enjoy certain elements of Wolfman. I think that overall it's a pretty entertaining January horror release. If anything, it's way better than it has any right to be, but it could have been so much better. It sits right in that frustrating middle ground of being way too good to be considered like fun bad or boringly bad or any, like this wasn't a misfire by any means. It has way too many problems for me to be like, yes, go see that. I really enjoyed it. So I can like half-heartedly recommend it. It was okay for what it was. I like a lot of elements of it. I really dislike a lot of elements from it. So yeah, I feel very conflicted about Wolfman, and I'm going to give it a light 3 out of 5. So still positive, still just, right there on the positive scale of my ratings, but, nothing all that special or really, must-see cinema. So that's my quick and rambly thoughts on Wolfman. What did you think of it, guys? Did you see it? Are you going to see it? Let me know in the comments down below. The roundup review, it just has to be edited. Same thing with the worst movies of the year, and then my best movies of the year list just has to get shot. Me and Cam just have to find a time to do that together. And yeah, and then we'll be entering 2025 completely, which is kind of nuts. It'll be 5 years that I've been doing this. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you with the next video.